Can I get you anything? Like a cup of tea or something?
No, that's okay.
Well, hey, I guess it's nice that you decided to come and visit me, Remi, but I'm not quite sure I know what it's about.
Yeah, I'm not sure I know either.
Look, would you mind knocking it off, please, this staring? It's really creepy and it's rude.
Sorry.
I mean, what do you find so fascinating that you feel the need to stare?
I was thinking that it's good to see you. You look just like you. Staring at you, I feel like I'm actually in the same room with you.
I am me.
Not really, your other bit's grafted on.
Right, well that's how I make a living, okay? And you've known that for a long, long time. I don't need you giving me a hard time about it.
It's different. When the other gigs ended, you went back to being you, and in the meantime, I just avoid talking to you about cake batter or waterproof wristwatches or whatever you were promoting. They've programmed every part of you this time, and it's possible that you might not be coming back.
No. What you need to accept is that this is not programming. Okay, you're the one that's been programmed by the opaque news media. I mean, you live and breathe ONM.
See? If you open your mouth and the effect is ruined. I can't pretend you're you anymore when you speak. All the talking points and buzzwords come pouring out.
Well, I'm sorry if you can't accept that I've become a person of strong conviction.
You were never a political person, Tyler.
Yeah, well, now I am.
But you were kind and you were funny.
Oh, Remi, spare me, please. Spare me.
Oh, but still, I missed you. All these months, I couldn't call you or send a message because the programming would be all I get. But when I look at you, you look just like my old friend Tyler. Even your voice. Except when you're pouring out all the buzzwords and
Oh, Remi, don't you have somewhere else that you need to be?
Not really, no. It's a long weekend. I've got to finish this music track of a film that Danny sent me. He sent me a rough cut, but I'm not feeling very inspired to finish it now after checking in with you. Seeing that you're still an invasion of the body snatchers pod person.
Oh, please, you know I hate that pod people bullshit. You've been pulling that ever since I became an idea surrogate, okay?
I cut it out a long time ago. I haven't mentioned it to you.
Well, I didn't need to hear it again. Not ever. I don't need that kind of needling back in my life.
Have you taken on any new products?
Yes. Right now, I'm letting people know about the impossibly delicate, light, flaky crust on Danbridge pastries. With a heavenly buttery taste. They come glazed and unglazed, with fruit fillings and cream fillings. Some of them are mild, and some are sinfully spiced with just a hint of sweetness. When you open a box of them, you find that each pastry is individually sealed inside its plastic wrap. And when you open them up, you breathe in the aroma of an early morning bakery. In that moment, when a tray of pastries is lifted from the oven, its bakery freshness and goodness, with all the convenience of a box that you buy at the store.
And you share your thoughts about this?
Yes, I do. I post about these delicious, old-fashioned pastries online. Okay, I write reviews. I counsel shoppers who get goods delivered but aren't quite sure what snacking options to explore. So I walk down the street, eating Danbridge products and expressing how good they are. I crave them several times a day. I've even done some chalk drawings on the pavement. And I counsel shoppers in the stores.
Right, that! Sounds like what you usually do, and the pastry programming isn't overriding your previous programming with the Transparency Party.
I am not programmed for the Transparency Party. You are the one who's programmed by the opaque national media, the ONM. God, it sounds like onanism. And that's very fitting, isn't it? Because that's what they engage in. It's mind wank. It's all mind wankery and self-indulgent noise, smearing the Transparency Party and smearing Gordon Bollinger.
Gordon Bollinger is no longer in office. He lost the election. The party lost on a massive scale. And your programming for them was only meant to last 5 months. Oh, it made you unpleasant. And I wasn't the only friend avoiding you. But we were counting on you to come back and being yourself again after the election. Have you given any thought to why that hasn't happened?
It wasn't programming. You see, it was ideas about the need for transparency in journalism and in the political process. And it awakened me to the need to think harder. It gave me the tools to articulate what I've always thought about these issues. And I'm never going to lose that.
They paid you for 5 months. You signed a contract for 5 months.
Up.
You didn't know that at the time.
Please shut up.
They...
Shut up!
Every time you signed a contract before that, you came back once they were done renting your headspace. They honoured the contract that they signed with you. A whole year we went off suddenly having to tolerate you spouting off about waterproof wristwatches and the heat and the cold and the stress they could withstand. Any little thing could set you off about it. Somebody saying, let's meet at 5 o'clock. But when it was over, it was over. And they fed you a phrase to repeat that would snap you out of it. What was it in this case?
This is different this time. I really believe in this political process.
Oh, sometimes waterproof watches get very wet. Wasn't it something like that? Did the Transparency Party give you a phrase like that to snap you out of this? Did you write it down somewhere? Is it on your computer?
I have been awakened politically, Remi. Can't you understand that? You don't come back from gaining awareness, from seeing the world as it is.
I accept your stupid story about that before. That you were honestly converted. A lot of us were ready to say the hell with you. But then, I've been reading. There have been a lot of articles in real-life fact-checked newspapers.
Oh, please, to hell with the O&M.
About the party signing contracts with people, and some people renting out their headspace to Gordon Bollinger and this campaign who never got copies of it. And there was a crucial hidden clause that a lot of them never got to read, saying that they might not ever come back. Did you read every single clause in that contract?
Oh, come on, it was 20 pages long.
It says a lot about how transparent the Transparency Party is, that they refuse to answer questions about this. And they refuse to provide a copy of the contract. They're the only ones out of all the companies renting out headspace.
No, that's a lie. That's a lie, and that's irrelevant. That is just the opaque news media making things more opaque by squirting out lies and smears about what his party is trying to do.
So, that's when I thought about coming to see you again, Tyler. When I read that, it occurred to me that, as obnoxious as you've become, you really are a victim. Your friends and family ought to be there for you to help. We should view you like you've joined a cult or been brainwashed.
Oh, I'm not brainwashed! And I don't need any of you! You know, you were never my friends to begin with. I can see that now. I love Gordon Bollinger as a father figure and as a strong, unwavering leader who speaks the truth to vested interests. He's more authentic, he's more exciting, and he's more real than any crummy, system-reinforcing politician. He's fresh, he's dynamic, he's exciting. And you know, I love the Transparency Party as a family, the way I never loved my so-called family, or my so-called friends. Would I feel that way about them if they'd enslaved me, if they were using me and manipulating me?
Of course you would. It could be Stockholm Syndrome or simply matter of programming. I think it's probably both. And the fact that you let your brain be hijacked by so many various companies makes you especially vulnerable. I mean, it's a hell of a way to make a living.
Yes, thank you, Remi, thank you. You've made it very clear and lectured me for years about what you think of the jobs I take. I put up with it when we were friends, but now I don't have to.
When you turn yourself into a thing, a commodity, when you rent
the
yourself out like a
Transparency
billboard
Party
sign.
understands that there is actually something sacred and beautiful about commodification. Capitalism is about extracting the maximum value from things, from seeing the good in the goods, and having the freedom to get them to people who pay the most for them. Human beings, we all have the right to commodify ourselves politically, just as we have the right to become escorts or companions.
Yeah, you've been prostituting your mind for
And the only people who object to this are people who are enemies of capitalism. Those who want to change our society into the killing fields, into the great leap forward.
Tyler, those are just tired, nonsensical Bollinger sound bites. If I thought that they had no right to trick you and take over your mind for all time, that doesn't mean I like Chairman Mao's Cultural Revolution or what Pol Pot did to Cambodia.
You just sound just like the Khmer Rouge. There is no difference at all.
No, I don't
There is no difference.
Listen, did they give you a phrase to snap you out of it or not? Is it like that wet, waterproof watches phrase? Could it be something like, the only thing transparent about the Transparency Party is the lies they tell? Oh. Could it be something like, Gordon Bollinger calls everything by the name of his opposites, to turn words into nonsense and to make concepts like truth and facts and journalism and the reality-based universe
Propaganda, obfuscation. You're trying to hack me now. You're trying to hack my brain.
You're
and I'm trying to think for myself.
Tyler, I'm trying to hack what the hackers have done to you. I'm trying to find the button or the tab or the switch that will turn you back into the person I knew. When you didn't hate everybody, when you didn't hate asthmatics, not left-handed people.
Oh, Gordon Bollinger does not hate left-handed people. Or the Weezers. Okay, he's been endorsed by several of them. He only wants us to acknowledge that a lot of Weezers choose to live in dense urban areas and breathe that unwholesome air. Because they hate the heartland and they lack character and they walk around with their dumb little inhalers and drain our health resources. And you know there are biblical reasons to watch out for left-handers. So when they're involved in crimes, we can't be afraid to call them out. Do you not think that left-handed people should perhaps warn us when one of them is going to do something awful?
You used to stand up to bigots and bullies when I was at school. I remember you at your best.
I'm the same person I always was. Okay, I'm only now more aware and more engaged. I've got my convictions just like any person. You are fixated on changing me. You're Bollinger triggered. You're suffering from transparency phobia. My God, the opaque cloud, it's just engulfed your entire brain.
Some people say that it takes time. That there's not one phrase or safeguard built in you that can bring you back. Some shrinks say that something in you, some part of your hacked self will want to come back. Some part of your hacked heart or mind or soul. When you miss your real family and your real friends, you can choose to remember what your life was like before. You were never a political person, Tyler, but you were fun. You were good to have a drink with and watch stupid shows and veg out. You were a good listener when someone had a problem. When Lulu was sick, during those last few months, you gave up everything. You went there and cooked and cleaned for her and got us all to come round to bring her spirits up. You were a far better friend to her than anyone. More generous and more kind. Do you remember? Do you remember the sing-alongs?
Obviously I do, of course I remember.
Do you remember getting her to sing and laugh with us just days before she slipped away? We held up her cats in our arms and we sang, "Proud cats with velvet paws, sweet cats retract their claws, cats just because."
I remember yes, I remember the song.
And you said to Luna that once she was gone, you'd look after the cats. And you did. 3 geriatric cats. You rented out your headspace to 2 companies at once, so you could pay for care for that broken down, diabetic, striped old tom cat.
Theodore.
Yes. Theodore. That's who you are, Tyler. That's the genuine, generous spirit of the Tyler I once knew. And that Tyler knew that people and animals were more than just commodities. And you made fun of people who spouted out the party line. Any party line. Do you remember how Kurt and Alice would fight about politics and you'd make rude noises just to interrupt them?
Yeah.
Do you remember how ridiculous they sounded? Before and during your rude noises?
Yes.
Especially to you. Because you're not a political person. You were never a political person.
I was never a political person.
You always had your priorities straight. You always said that friendship mattered more.
You are all the ones who've cut me dead for political reasons.
Because you became insufferable. Because you're no longer you. I'm trying to remind you. Do you remember the trip to the house by the shore?
Yeah.
We had that house for 4 nights. Who was the referee when we'd fight about who got the good beds, and Denny was yelling about film theory and we just got all childish and nasty? Who kept us all in line and made it a fun trip?
Come on, I wasn't the only one who made that a fun trip.
Oh, please, Tyler, it was mostly you. The rest of us were just sulky, petty and ridiculous. Do you remember lying on a beach towel with the gulls overhead and the sun blazing and the shells we found? And building the most ugliest sandcastle ever.
Yes.
And how it crumbled and caved in. And as the tide came in and washed it away, we said it would be a mercy killing.
Yes.
Do you remember how close we all felt as a group on that trip? And how close I felt to you, Tyler? My old friend. Do you remember 1,000 pointless phone calls and late nights eating junk food and just driving around listening to bad music on the radio? And just talking rubbish. I'm hoping that you'll remember that stuff, Tyler. I miss my old friend. I do want you back, but I don't know what I'm up against here, but you're so different now. And even if they come up with the perfect plan, the perfect hack of a human being, and even if you're hermetically sealed in this terrifying new persona, I'm hoping it's true. Sometimes waterproof watches get very, very wet. Tyler? Please, Well, I'm leaving now. Please text me or call me.
Proud cats with velvet paws. Sweet cats retract their